What's up? What's up? What's up? YouTube, it's your boy Uncle Fred back in the house one more again with some blockbusting content. I know y'all been hearing all the stuff all day, man. This thing came out of nowhere when I be telling y'all that the NFL's the gift that keeps on giving. You think you got this thing figured out, and then it throws you that curveball, and you can't hit it. You know, yes, when you think you got it figured out, you got a handle on things. That thing just come out of nowhere. You like, where that come from? So we were talking yesterday. We had the Matt Ryan deal and all that other stuff, and all those other deals we was talking about, and of course the Devontae Adams deal and all that sort of stuff was going on. We like, man, it don't get no bigger than that. And then soon as you like, whew, got time to relax. Boom, here comes something else. Man, about 11:30 today, I'm watching Colin Cowherd. I'm watching Undisputed with Skip and Shannon right at the end of that before the other thing come on. Breaking news, breaking news. And I heard some stuff in Undisputed like, oh, they may be seeking a trade in Kansas City for one of Patrick Mahomes' receivers. I'm like, you just got Juju Smith-Schuster. Who could they be talking about? I said, are they talking about Marcus Robinson? But I thought he was already gone. Talking about Nicole Hardeman. I mean, who they talking? No. It ain't thought of them. So when it came down, the Chiefs are supposedly trying to trade Tyreek Hill, because they couldn't get a contract worked out. And I'm like, what? No. And then about 11:30 today, it hit. Kansas City Chiefs trading all pro, all world, all everything. Tyreek Hill, otherwise known as REEK, otherwise known as the Cheetah Hill, to the Miami Dolphins for 5 picks. Now we're gonna get into this. We're not gonna take a whole lot of time, up much of your time on this video because we only got one topic that we're gonna talk about. But we're gonna talk about why it came about, and I guess you can say who's to blame for it, who you favor in the trade, who's the winners, who's the losers. What do you think about it? Are you mad about it? But yeah, let's go ahead and break it and go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. Guarantee you will not be disappointed. So let's go ahead and get into it. So Tyreek Hill traded to the Miami Dolphins, 6-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first team All Pro, 5'10", 185 pounds, out of a variety of colleges, but most notably the Oklahoma State University, where they used him as mostly a return man. Skip was talking the other day when Bob Stoops kept kicking the ball to him. He just ran it down their throat. At the combine in 2016, is recorded one of the fastest 40 times. I think he's recorded the 4.29, but I think he's much faster than that. But let's see what they traded him for. They traded him to the Dolphins for the Dolphins first. One of their first. I think they got more than one first. They traded which is number 29. They traded a second, which is number 50. They traded a fourth this year. They also traded a fourth of next year and a sixth, of next year. So a total of 5 picks. And they get Tyreek Hill. Okay. And usually the way this thing rolled, because I think didn't they get 4 picks for Devontae Adams? I got it wrote down. Don't give me the line. I'll go find it. I wrote it down in my trusty notebook. But yeah, they got about 4 picks for Devontae Adams. And of course, now Devontae Adams promptly signed a 5-year, $142 million contract. Okay. So, there's a trend that's been going on. So it's like, and we're going to talk about that too. So the Dolphins, usually when a team give up a lot of draft capital and 5 picks, even though they weren't like great picks, because they also had a deal or it was reported also that the Jets was also interested in. The Jets got better picks because Jets been sorry for the last I don't know decade. So they had a 4-10, but they really wasn't willing to get that up for them. And I'm like, now if I'm Kansas City, that's who I want to give them to. I want that 4. I want that 10. So but no, they didn't. And so, but they ended up finding a trading partner in the Dolphins. And so usually when you give up draft capital like that, you really don't give, usually you do one or the other. You give up, a reasonable amount of draft capital, or you write the big contract. So Dolphins said, man, we ain't playing. We doing both. They promptly signed Tyreek Hill to a 4-year, $120 million contract. Now, 72.2 of that supposedly guaranteed. Now, the way I heard it from Adam Schefter today, no, it was no. Daniel Jeremiah. That's what because I was watching Move the Sticks. I was listening to that. I listen to so much stuff, man. I get it mixed up. Now, he said that what it really is that $72.2 million 72.2 is guaranteed at the beginning of 2013. If he's on the roster at the beginning of the 2023 season, he gets that 72.2. But the 51.325 is guaranteed at signing. So that sounds like to me that after the first year, all his money is guaranteed. So now if we heard about Deshaun Watson, the deal he had, so we're starting to see a trend here. And I'm sort of happy in some sort of ways, but not so happy in other ways, because I think you're going to end up breaking the system. But I'm happy that the players are getting some of that windfall. And in the most dangerous sport today is, I'm happy to see that there's more guaranteed money. Each of those contracts we've been rattling off to you in these numbers, basically like, monopoly money, how it almost seems. But as you've seen, there's a trend. There's more guaranteed money that you are seeing now than used to be. It used to be no guaranteed money, because those things are protective things to keep you if you get hurt or something like that. So what do you think? So here's my thing, and I mean, a couple of my boys was talking today. We was talking about what we think, and I'm like, there's a couple of ways I look at this thing. Because see, and sometimes these things fall down in generational lines. I'm a Generation X or baby boomer or whatever you want to call it. I'm born in the 60s, grew up in the 70s, came into my own in the 80s, that sort of thing. So I kind of got a point of view that looks at certain things and values certain things other than others, where some of you millennials are maybe not in that same era, look at other things, and other things are more valuable. Let me tell you what I mean. Now, see, to me, some people might look at it as loyalty, but I don't say loyalty, because loyalty really ain't in the game of sports, really no such thing, because it's business. Okay. These football players, take Fred Johnson from the Cincinnati Bengals, got signed at like 9 o'clock, about 11, he was cut. Okay. So ain't no such thing as loyalty. All right. So, but my thing is, and what I've always felt is that when you got you sort of got a good thing going, okay, sometimes you can't put good things in terms of dollars and cents. Sometimes you got a job and you enjoy what you do, enjoy who you work with, enjoy the job itself, what you do, the ease and the fluidity in what you do the job, and you and your coworkers work together seamless. You make more than enough money to do anything you need to do, and you happy, man, that stuff priceless. All right. Problem is that sometimes we get that, I won't say we get the big head. We start getting our eyes get big, and we start seeing that, man, I deserve more. I should get more. I should get more. I should get more. I should get more. And like I said, I never begrudge players, especially the NFL, for getting money. I never do, because it's a violent sport. Your career can be over just like that. Okay. So I don't begrudge nobody getting money. Okay. But I guess from my perspective is, if you got a good thing and you making enough money, okay, sometimes I'm thinking, man, that ought to be enough. Especially if you got a successful and a winning organization and all this stuff. Because I'm telling you, the grass ain't always greener on the other side, man. I'm telling you, take it from your boy, Uncle Fred. Sometimes it ain't as green on the other side. All right. And what I mean by that, and I'm saying now, Tyreek Hill, let me tell you something about Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is a one of one. There is not another player in the NFL that's Tyreek Hill. Now, the teams might think they got them a Tyreek Hill type. Now, they brought him in 2016, and basically was using him as a return man, but he had that supreme speed, and Andy Reid, being the man genius he was, started slowly implementing him into the passing game. Let me give you some of his stats, okay? And this past year, the Cheetah, which I like to call him, had 111 catches for 1,239 yards and 9 touchdowns. 2020, he had 87 catches for 1,276 yards and 15 touchdowns. 2019, he was injured for 4 games. He had 58 for 960 and 7. 2018, which was his best year, that's the first year that Patrick Mahomes came on the scene. He had 87 catches for 1,479 yards. I mean, best season in terms of yardage, and 12 touchdowns. As a career, he's got 479 catches, 6,630 yards, 56 touchdowns. Career average is about 18 yards per catch. But the stats really don't imply what Tyreek means to the game. Now, Tyreek is a unique individual, okay? He's sort of, in basketball, he's sort of a unicorn. He's sort of Steph Curry, okay, in basketball terms. What do I mean by that? Well, if you watch any basketball, and I'm as big a basketball fan as I am a football fan. Steph Curry, you gotta set your defense and hedge him as soon as he crosses half court, because he's something to let that thing fly from half court and hit that thing, and he can hit that shot. All right. So you got to start, paying attention to him when he crosses half court. Okay. But when you do that, that makes the middle of the court wide open for mid-range shots and guys driving to the basket, because you're out so far on him, because you're scared to death he might pull up from 45, right? It's the same thing with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is so fast. He uses and utilizes his speed so well that you see teams running that what I call that two deep zone, where the 2 safeties are almost in the freaking end zone and they into 40. That's how deep that they be, because they're scared to death of Tyreek Hill. Because if he hit that 9 route and he get that foot in the ground, it's over. Or if he hit that crossing pattern in the middle and you miss that first tackle, it'd be just like the divisional game against the Buffalo Bills. He pieced them boys out at about the 30-yard line, and they had the angle. He's like, you ain't got me. He hit them afterburners and was gone. Tyreek Hill is probably one of the most explosive and dynamic players that I've ever seen play. I've been watching the game of football for a long time. Okay. There have been better receivers. I put Jerry Rice on anybody. I put Moss on anybody, and some of them guys, Chris Carter, some of them guys, some of the, but in terms of being able, when they talk about take the top off the defense, that's what they're talking about with Tyreek Hill. Takes the top off the defense. And what that does, the Steph Curry effect, is that allows all these underneath routes to be wide open. And I'm gonna tell you who right now, who gonna be hurting because Tyreek gone, and that's Travis Kelce. I love me some Travis Kelce, but Travis Kelce is Travis Kelce because Tyreek Hill taking 2-3 defenders with him 40 yards downfield. And and Kelsey just break the line and break that route off by 12 yards and catch it. And I think about that last game against the Los Angeles Chargers. I think he had 12 catches, 190 some odd yards and 3 touchdowns or something like that. And Tyreek Hill barely had 3-4 catches or something like that. I should have pulled them stats up. But I remember that game. Kelsey was everywhere. But why was Kelsey open? Kelsey is open like that because you can't cover everything on the football field. So when Tyreek Hill's on the field, trust me, the defensive coordinators, the safeties, the corners, everybody know what number 10 at. All right. And so that allows Travis Kelsey to have, 80, 90, 90, 95, 100 receiving yard catches, also able him to get a $15, $16 million. Well, that's like top money for tight end. I think him and George Kittle right in there, $14, $15 million a year, which is like tops in the NFL for tight ends. Yeah, he owe a lot of that money to number 15, Pat, and to Tyreek Hill, because when that zone is cleared out, you can just slide them, run them seams underneath, take them things to the house. But here's my thing. When I get back to saying you got a special thing, because you got a special set of talents here. You got an all-world tight end. You got an all-world quarterback, and you got an all-world receiver, okay? You guys made some good music together for them 4 years, for 18, 19, 20, and 21. And many times when a group is that good together, they may have success on their own, but it'll never be like it was. I promise you that. It'll never be like it was. Now, what it came down to is that, you start looking at this money getting thrown around. And I believe it all started with Christian Kirk getting that 4-year, $84 million, 72 to 84 million with incentives up to $84 million, which is like an $18.5 million contract for a slot receiver. Christian Kirk from the Cardinals to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I believe somebody like Devontae Adams was looking at that and said, now, Green Bay, you really should have signed me last year, but you let me go to my last year of the contract. Now I'm going, and I don't know, maybe there was some stuff going on with him and Aaron or something going on with him in the front office of Green Bay, but he decided, I'm out of here. I'm going to the Raiders for 5 years, 142. Okay. What about 70-something of that guaranteed? All right. And I'm telling you right now, Tyreek Hill saw that. Now he got a year left. And, so the Chiefs are trying to be proactive. They know they got to work out a deal with him. So they working on a deal. And so he like, shoot, if he making 28, I got to get 30. Okay. And so me and my man was talking today. It's like, man, sometimes I think today's guys, they value getting the money versus greatness. Because really, I'm telling you right now, the Chiefs, if they tweak this thing a little bit, got a few more defenders here or there, and really a lot of people is calling them a dynasty now, but I mean, I don't know about that. They've got one Super Bowl, went to 2 in a row, went to 4 straight AFC championship games. I guess in today's terms, it's sort of a dynasty, but it's, I thought that the special connection they had together it was something that you're not going to be able to replicate. So what am I saying? I'm saying that when Tyreek go to Miami, he going to look at Tua, and don't get me wrong, I love me some Tua Tagovailoa, but Tua Tagovailoa has not proven himself as a NFL quarterback. He still got a lot to prove, okay? He going to find out that ain't Pat, okay? He going to learn that's not Pat, okay? When he's running a 9 route from the 20-yard line, which means you 80 yards out, and you at the 15-yard line, and that ball dies at the 20, 5 yards short of you, you're going to realize, dang, Pat would have laid that thing right out there on me. Even on the dead run, he'd have laid that thing out there for me, and I'd have caught that, okay? By the same token, up in Kansas City and Arrowhead, there's going to be some times on these little 12, 13-yard crossing routes that he's going to be throwing to Juju Smith-Schuster or Nicole Hardeman or no, they don't have Brian Pringle no more. I'm trying to think who the other receiver is. They still got Marcus Robinson. I really should check that out. And it ends up being a 19, 20-yard completion. And Pat like, man, Cheetah who would have got that corner. That'd have been an 80-yard touchdown. Instead, it's just 1st and 10 from the 35. 15-yard pickup. Cheetah taking that to the house. That same route that that second to the last touchdown they had in the divisional game, nobody else in the NFL scores that touchdown. So what I'm saying is that, yeah, Cheetah getting the money, but he gonna realize it ain't the same thing, bro. And Pat didn't do nothing. And see, a lot of people are saying that, Pat should have never signed that contract. Lee Steinberg set him up for failure, basically making him sign or getting him to encourage him to sign that 12-year deal. Because when he signed it, I think it's worth, with incentives up to almost $500 million, which is like $500 million. We've never seen a $500 million contract ever. When you start peeling back the layers of that thing, you find out that he really don't have any outs in there where he can go back and get another crack at the apple. You know what I'm saying? And Kansas City got all the outs. They have all the things where this happened, we good. They got injury things. They got stuff in there where they can, recover some stuff in that. So they got all the provisions. And he's basically boxed in. But he's getting $500 million, if all things go to run. So sometimes you look at the big number, you don't look at the fine print. You see there's an issue, and then you see the deal that Deshaun Watson got, and you're like, man, Pat should have got that deal, where he has all the leverage. And really, when he signed that deal, he had all the leverage. He had won a Super Bowl and won an MVP, and had thrown, more touchdown passes in the first 3 years of his career than anybody in the history of the NFL. First year starting through 50 touchdowns. And and really he had them over a barrel. They knew they had them a unicorn. And while the big number sounds good, it really wasn't. And so some people have said that, well, he made it a long-term deal to make it so the Kansas City Chiefs would have a bunch of flexibility. And then I've listened to some people saying today, say that's why you should have did it like you should have did it. You should have been thinking about that. Let them figure that stuff out. And I've heard a lot of people say that, and so don't give them these $1 multi-billion-dollar corporations no breaks, because as soon as you hurt yourself, they're done with you. And I agree with that. Okay. But Pat is looking at, look, man, I like playing with Tyreek Hill. I like playing with Travis Kelce. I like playing with Nicole Hardeman. I like playing with these guys. So, and one of my things is that, once you got money, you kind of got money. It don't really change anything. And that's the thing I've always thought. If the money close, well, it don't change your way of life. It don't change your culture or change the way you do things. But if you happy here and y'all having success, why would I go something to an unknown for $1 million more a year when it ain't gonna change nothing? Well, so what I'm saying is, did it mean that much to you to make more money than Devontae Adams? That you break up that duo? Couldn't the Chiefs have given you, I don't know, $25 million a year and it'd have been all right? And y'all still be crushing touchdowns and going to Super Bowls and being that dynamic duo that nobody could touch? Could be Peyton and Marvin Harrison, Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. Could you have done that? And so what it comes down to in my mind is that, some different generations look at different things different. See, in today's time, they don't look at dynasties. They don't look at that. Most people would much rather a different team win the Super Bowl, win the NBA championship, win the World Series every year. Because if one team win it too many times, I think y'all get bored. So I think players get bored. It's like, I got to have a change of scenery. Where in my day, it's like, man, I'm gonna come to work every day. Swan and Starworth stayed with with Terry Bradshaw. You know, Drew Pearson stayed with Roger Staubach, and they had a thing together. But of course, the younger ones would say, "Well, of course y'all stayed together. You got to have no choice. You know, you stayed there until the team got tired of you." And yeah, that's right. And so I had a discussion today with one of my boys talking about free agency. That's it, not free agency, but the salary cap. And I said the salary cap is really to blame for all this. And that's one of my things. The salary cap is the devil to me, because really it's nothing but socialism. What does it do? It brings everybody on the same level. And while that sounds like a good thing, ain't no two things equal, fam. I don't care. Identical twins ain't equal. All right? Ain't no two things equal ever. Get that out your mind now. Men and women ain't equal. They different. Some things they do and we can't do. Some things we do. They ain't no two things equal. Okay? So two organizations can't be equal. If I do my job good, why should I be penalized and brought down to the level of the lowest common denominator just to keep everything equal? If I'm the Dallas Cowboys and I got the most exclusive brand in sports and have built it up to be so, but I can't spend no more money than the New York Jets, who really can't get out their own way. Tell me how that's fair. And then you get a situation like this, and if there was no salary cap, Kansas City would have just, we'll just pay Tyreek what the going rate is and just pay him. Keep the thing rolling. But no, we all got to have the same $208 million. Why? Why is that? Because you don't want one team to dominate. Okay? Now, I'm not speaking out against free agency. I think free agency needs to be what it is. If a player decides he want to, you know, I don't want a Super Bowl or two, and I want to try something else, you ought to be able to do that. Okay? But it ought not be because the team couldn't afford to get you. This is a $13, $14 billion industry. Why should your payroll be limited? So, you know, so anyhow, so from the Chiefs' point of view, yeah, I know what they're gonna be doing. They got a pick number. They got their own pick at 30 and a pick at 29, which is the Dolphins. And then they got 50, and they got these other picks. I know what they're going to be picking for. I know they may have been thinking of picking them. Good. It's a good thing that they got Justin Hill. I think that's his name. From Justin Reed, safety from the Texans, because they're going to need some defensive help, because I think, you know, their defense was, you know, but now they got to replace REEK. So they're gonna probably go to the draft, and you know, there's a few receivers that's you know, that I bet you that they're gonna be looking at. You know, you're looking at Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, 6 foot 183, ran a 4.38 40, 70 catches, 10, 58, and 12. You know, and they're probably not gonna get him because they pick at 29. You know, Drake London, Jameson Williams, that's my boy, University of Alabama, 79 catches, 1,572 yards, 15 touchdowns, suffering from ACL in a championship game. Probably won't be ready until about October, but that's a good, he's a track guy too now. You know, 6 foot 2, 179 pounds. He put on a little weight, but that's a guy that you could slip and get. He might be ready towards the end of the first round and has blazing speed too. But he ain't gonna beat Cheetah. I'm sorry. Then there's some other guys. Treylon Burks from Arkansas, big dude. They frame in the mold of Deebo Samuels. He's 6'4" and 6'2", 225. Excuse me. Ran a 4.35 40. 66 catches, 1,104 yards. Also ran 14 times for 112 yards and 12 touchdowns total. Chris Olave, a guy I like, one of the best route runners in college football from Ohio State. 6 foot, 187 pounds, ran a 4.28 40, 35 career touchdowns. Ohio State. These are some of the guys that Kansas City gonna have to be looking at. They may have been looking at edge rushers or cornerbacks and stuff like that. Nah, fam. And then they got 4 or 5 other picks that they can address that with. And I think they got about 12 picks, I think, in this draft, 11 or 12 picks. So they can get some other things, but they better address that. Johnny Dotson from Penn State. I A guy, unstated, Christian Watson from North Dakota State, 6'4", 210, ran a 4.36 40, 11.4 broad jump, just a total athlete. Maybe played at some lesser competition in North Dakota State, but them guys know about winning. So these are just some guys that maybe they're looking at. Now the Dolphins. Now you may be thinking, and I got here. What is your take on this? Mine is be careful what your desire to be what your desire to be on top is, that it doesn't approach insanity, okay, or arrogance or selfishness. And so what I'm saying is that, from the standpoint of Tyreek, like I said, if the Chiefs offered you 25 million, 27 million, or somewhere in that neighborhood, and it was going to fit under the cap. Because remember, Frank Clark and some other guys, we worked their deals with the anticipation that they were going to do that, okay? And then you like, I want even more money than that when they offered you a decent deal. And you got a special guy with it, and you might not be able to reconnect that with another quarterback. I'm sorry, you might not be able to. But the Dolphins, they've been in the French. They spinning like a crackhead at a daggum swap meet. Picked up Ced Wilson, Terron Armstead, the number one free agent in the market, on a 5 year, $75 million deal. They also picked up Raheem Mostert from the 49ers. I think that dude ran like a 4.3 40. They also, Mike McDaniel knows him from the 49ers. And then they also picked up Chase Edmonds from the Cardinals, a very versatile back. They also kept Mike Gesicki. And so, they got, the odd man out may be Devontae Parker, who in 7 years really hadn't really proven himself. So now, two are going to have some. From now, they also picked up Connor Williams from the Cowboys at left guard. So, and I heard they're looking at getting J.C. Trotter, the center that was just released from the Cleveland Browns. So they're looking at revamping that whole offensive line. So Tua's going to have time. He's going to have weapons, and you got a creative mastermind. But here's the thing, though. Here's the overview from both teams' perspective. Now, we've been talking at length as I get ready to close this video, that the AFC West is a gauntlet now, with all those teams making the Chargers with the moves they made, the Raiders, the moves that they made, and the Broncos, the moves they made. I'm like, well, man, the Chiefs better just hold serve, man, and they see if they can hold them off, and may get something in the draft and see if we can hold them off. And then you lose to Cheetah. Man, it's a possibility the Chiefs might not make the playoffs next year. That's how tight the AFC is. The AFC West, more specifically, they might not make the playoffs. That's how pivotal a move that is. They might not make the playoffs, okay? But I'm not going to bet on that, because I believe in Pat. I believe Travis Kelce will make some sort of adjustments, and I believe in Andy Reid being the offensive mastermind that he was. Now, I noticed towards the end of the season that Andy Reid was having some challenges with Pat because they were taking away Tyreek Hill and was wanting them to nickel and dime it down the field. And that's why Pat threw about 14, 15 interceptions this year. That's a career high. Never threw that many interceptions ever. And the idea was he was never patient enough, because he could always get REEK. But like I said, the safeties are in the parking lot. They're not letting you have that. So the idea is teams would rather you cut them a death by 1,000 cuts than cut their throat in one slash. And the idea is if you throw enough of these underneath passes and stuff and they're tight coverage, and one of them get tipped, what do you think happening? That's the thing. The more passes you throw in a drive, there's more chances of a turnover. But if you're having 4-play, 80-yard drives, the big play being a 45-yard touchdown pass, see, that's no, but, you having to go 12 plays, 80 yards, 6-7 passes, a lot of underneath stuff, there's a chance that you are going to get one tipped and picked. And so that's why, he never made an adjustment. Now he really going to have to do that, because he don't have that deep threat at all. So we're going to see. Now, for the Dolphins, we was talking today about that. What does it mean? And I was like, well, shoot, they're going to be, I guess they'll make play. You said, you think they're going to make the playoffs? I said, well, I mean, dude, they was 9-8. with what they had. They got REEK, they got Cedric Wilson, they got better offensive line, got two good running backs, creative play caller, and but the thing about it is, no matter what kind of pieces you get, just like you cooking a dish, you never know how the stuff mesh together. You just never know. And when you got something that mesh together, I don't know if a lot of times these players appreciate the magic that they create when you in sync with the guy you playing with. I don't know if they appreciate that or not. I really don't know if they appreciate that. Okay. Now, the Dolphins, with all this raw talent, and then the 2 on the clock, because if this don't work out this year, they, and I love Tua, but I know his arm ain't looked that good, but he got as much talent as he had when he's in Alabama. He can just fling that thing, But the defense, I don't know how good it was because you ain't got a defensive guy calling the signals now. You got an offensive guy, all right? Now, he got a good defensive staff now. I think he pulled together a couple of my ex-Miami Dolphins. Patrick Surtain Sr., the daddy to the cornerback from the Broncos, and Sam Madison, among some others. So that's on his staff. So, we'll see what that do, see if they can generate anything from the defense. But, I mean, you got a new head coach that's never been a head coach before. Now, he's been an assistant for like 13, 14 years, and basically you might say Kyle Shanahan, this is his right-hand man ever since he was at Washington as an assistant. He's been with him ever since step of the way when he was offensive coordinator at Atlanta, and the handful of years he's been in San Francisco. Mike McDaniel been right there. He's his offensive guru or whatever, working all his magic. So whatever Kyle Shanahan has, he has it. But does that mean, because everybody that's a good coordinator don't mean they're a good head coach, because there's a lot of more things, a lot of more moving parts. You got a lot of more pies you got to have your hands in, okay? And you might not, and a lot of people are good at one or two things. When you start to make them a CEO, because when you're a head coach, you're basically the CEO. You can't be the offensive coordinator. You can, because a lot of times head coaches don't call plays because they got to have their mind on the whole game. Do we run the ball on this play? Okay, what kind of coverage? They're in third down. What kind of coverage you want so we can get the ball back? You got to have your head in all these things when you're the head coach, as opposed to you just an offensive coordinator. You just calling plays. And you let somebody else do the other thing. Somebody else deal with the special team. Somebody else plays with the defense. Somebody else, whatever. So do we even know how good a head coach Mike McDaniel had? Yeah, he got talent, but that don't mean he know what to do with it. So those are all variables that you got to weigh. And like I said, if you told me, do I trust Mike McDaniel or Andy Reid? I trust Andy Reid a little more. So, and he has the quarterback. And more times than not in this league, if you got a quarterback, you can make it. He'll make other guys better. And generally, you spend a little more money when you got a quarterback on a rookie deal, because you ain't paying him about $4 million a year. You can spend that money elsewhere. But Pat making about $45, $47, $47, $48 million a year. And the first thing of his thing kicked in this year. And you're not going to be able to pay anybody. That's why I curse the salary cap. That thing ain't a good thing. That's just a thing for owners to say, well, can't do no more. And it's a way for the NFL to create this illusion of parity, that everybody's the same. Dude, ain't no two things the same. I don't know how many times I got to tell you that. Get out of that thinking. Unlearn that. Ain't no two things the same. Like I told my man today, and me and you in the class in physics, and we got a midterm, and I'm studying my butt off to get ready for this test, and you all flopping around, going drinking and partying with girls and different stuff, and we go in, I ace the test, and you flop it. But then the professor said, well, we're going to give everybody a 90 so the numbers look good for our class. I'm going to be pissed because I done worked hard and I deserve to get the 95 that I got. You got a 45. But you get up to my level because they want to even the playing field, even though you didn't do the work. That's what the salary cap is to me. Okay. You give the Jets credit for stuff the Cowboys did, or the Steelers did, or some of the other more successful franchises, they get the same thing. When they break their TV money out, they get the same portion. That ain't right. It just ain't. It's almost evil. I don't work my tail off and you get the same thing as me and you ain't did nothing. I don't like that. But we'll see how this thing go, man. And my question, are you mad? I'm mad in a way because you kind of feel like you left wanting more from like the Chiefs, which they ain't my team, but I appreciate good football when I see it. All right. And I feel like I got cheated. I feel like I got left holding the bag. And I feel like there's a lot of more great plays to be had, and we're never going to see them. So, and like I said, I like dynasties. I like dominance. I like to see the same team just do it and get better every year, just dominate that. I like that. I don't want to see a different team every year. I don't like that. I like routine. All right. Maybe that's because I'm 50. I like routine. But y'all don't like routine. You could play somewhere 3 years. I don't care if we is, but I want to go somewhere else. Well, we'll see if that's what it is, and we'll see how this goes. But I guarantee you, just like I said earlier, we'll close out on this. Any great duo, great team, Scotty and Michael, Shaq and Kobe, whoever, big groups that broke up or whatever, they may have had some success by themselves, but it was never the same as they were when they were together. Pat to Tyreek Hill was a special connection, one of which I think we'll never see again in the NFL. And for a few $1 million a year, Tyreek was willing to roll the dice on something different. The jury's still out as to whether he made the right gamble or not. And I guess as the years go along, we'll see whether he made the right decision or not. But one thing's for certain, it'll never be the same again. So I hope you thought this thing through, Tyreek, because Pat, he'll do something, but it'll never be like it was. But that's all I got from the desk of Uncle Fred. Tyreek Hill, Miami Dolphin. Just don't sound right to me. That's all I got. Y'all take care. I'll keep y'all abreast when more things come afloat. I sure let y'all know. But I'm also going to give y'all my perspective on what I think about this thing. Y'all take care.